Back to Seller Sessions. I am your host today, Sharon Evan, and in today's podcast, we will be speaking about how Amazon is now showing, as well as the review count on the search page, it is also showing the rating, and how this may or may not impact your business, basically. So, a couple of days ago, I woke up in the morning. First thing I do always is go into Amazon, either into the Seller Central, usually it's Seller Central, and then from there I go and just check stuff on Amazon.com. Suddenly went into Amazon and I started seeing that you can see ratings on the search page. So don't get confused. What I mean is it's always shown review count. Okay, so if you have 10,000 reviews, it'll show and let's say your overall rating is 4.2, which equals to a total of 4 stars, then it would show 4 stars and it would say 10,000 reviews. Okay. But now it shows a total of 4 stars. So 4 out of 5. And then it'll say 4.2. And then in a bracket, it now says the amount of reviews. So 10,000 as an example. So as I discovered new stuff, the first thing I did was I went and spoke about it in my Facebook group. I put it on Instagram, and there were all sorts of different comments. Some made more sense, some didn't. But then there were a few comments saying, this really sucks for new products, which I sat there thinking about it and I was like, I don't think it does. So I wanted to talk about how it may and may not impact your business, and also how in the last couple of days it's already impacted one of my niches. So let's talk about how this, can impact your business in a good way. So if your products have really high ratings, okay, let's just say 4.6, 4.7, 4.8, 4.9, and 5, and that could be really, really good, especially if the average rating within your niche is, let's just say, 4.4 and below. That can be really, really useful. So much so that it can now, because it's something new, it can also, even if you've got a much lower review count than your competitors, but your rating is in the customer's face all of a sudden, because before that they would have to have clicked on you, scrolled all the way down to the reviews, and then looked on the left, which was quite easy to miss, at what your rating is. Now they see it before they even click on you. So it could be part of the decision of whether, I either click on you or not. So this can also impact now your conversion rate. So that's one thing. So the way that could impact you positively is if you do have a really high rating, especially if it's compared to your competitors, no matter what your review count is. How it could impact you negatively is if you have possibly a really high review count, but you have a pretty low rating, which you could get away with. Let me explain. Whether you have 4.2, okay, overall rating, or whether you have 3.9 overall rating, your overall rating on the search page before this changed, okay, well, not before, your overall rating will look like 4 stars, okay, 4 out of 5. Now, if you're watching this online, then you can see my screen, okay, and if you're listening to this on the podcast, this is what I mean. I have on the screen an example for where it kind of sucks. If you are selling, it kind of sucks for you if you have this. So here is an example. Okay, on the screen, I've currently got breast tape, so boob tape. It's a type of product where it lifts your boobs up. Basically, it's just, I wanted to show you guys a niche where I knew it would impact. So because I have multiple beauty brands and we sell multiple beauty products, I can already see an impact in some of the products, and I'll explain in a second. And obviously it didn't want to show my products or my niches, so I went to something that I just knew would also, be impacted. So this is an example. The thing about breast lift tapes is that they're either good or they're not, and it's also very dependent on how the customer, if they use it correctly or not. It's very dependent on the customer in general. Okay, I'm not going to get into it because it's a little bit of an intimate product, but anyway, what if you are watching this, and if you're not, I'll explain. What you'll see here is a product, okay, that has overall 4 stars, but their rating is 3.8 and they have 6,996 reviews. Okay. Here is a product on the right. They're not the same product, so we'll go with something else. Here is a product here that has 4 reviews. 4 overall stars out of 5, but their rating is 4.2. So going back to what I meant, maybe up to now you've had quite a bad rating, 3.8, 3.9, okay? But overall it looks like you have 4 stars, okay? And the customers are kind of missing that when they go down. They don't really, not all notice that you have 3.9 rating. But now, suddenly, on the main search page, they see that, hold on, you've got 4 stars overall, but your rating's 3.8. This guy over here may have less reviews than you, but they have 4.2, right? And you've both got overall 4 stars. So maybe it wouldn't have impacted you up to date, but now it may impact you. So some of our products in the beauty niche do have, 4.1 rating as an example, which means overall 4 stars. But some of the competitors, or let's just say 4 also, some of the competitors may have 4.2. Right? And it doesn't sound like it's such a big deal, but when you're seeing 4.2, 4.2, 4.2, and then there's a product, for example, that has 4.1 or 4, all of a sudden you may not end up clicking on that person, where else beforehand you may have clicked on them. And we need to get that click in order to then persuade the buyer to actually buy it, right? So this is how it could impact you negatively. It's the only way how I can see that it could impact you negatively. This change should not in any way impact you as a new product, different from how it would have impacted you prior. So if you are launching a new product and you've got 2 reviews and they're both, let's just say 4.5 stars and 5 stars or whatever it may be, it shouldn't have impacted you differently at the end of the day, right? It only impacts you when your rating sucks, okay? Basically, that's when it would impact you. So now on the screen, I'm going to show a Jade Roller, okay? I'm showing the Jade Roller, and there is on the screen on the left side, we have a product that has 4.6 overall rating, and they have 6,779 reviews. And next to it is a product that has 5-star rating, and it's got 5.0 because it's the overall rating, and it only has 1 review, okay? If anything, suddenly it doesn't look as naked, I'm going to call it, as it did before. So I don't think that this impacts in a negative way at all new products. I just think that, it's actually the opposite. It's an added bonus if you've got good ratings, right? So this shouldn't impact you negatively in any way unless you have below average ratings in your niche, okay? Below average ratings in your niche. For example, let's just say everyone in your niche is 4.2 and it looks like they're overall 4 stars, but you have 3.8 or 3.9, and suddenly it shows it just like I showed in the boob tape image, okay? That's when it may impact you, and you may have already seen a change, in your conversion. So for those, there's a few products that we sell that are in the sense of that's very dependent on the buyer, okay? I'm really going to do my very best to try and bring that rating up to at least 4.2. One or two of them are on 4 right now, and a couple of them 4.1, and the rest are 4.5, so we're good there. But I can already see how it has impacted sales and also impacted the amount of actual clicks that we're getting as well. So you may see this too if your scenario is similar to how I just explained it. So summary, okay, conclusion. Amazon has now added the rating to the search page where they did not have that before. It should only impact you negatively if you have a poorer rating than the rest of the competition or everyone else on the search page. Otherwise, there shouldn't be any negative effect. It should be absolutely fine. The opposite. If you've got really, really good ratings, it should be the opposite. It should only help you, okay? Even if you have lower review count, okay? On the other hand, if you've got a really, really high review count, okay, like there's a product here that I spoke about earlier that's got overall 4 stars, but their rating is 3.8 and they've got almost 7,000 reviews, okay? I, as a buyer, may go in and may see, well, wait a minute, it's 3.8. Okay, I'd rather buy from this dude that has 4.2, okay, which overall is still 4 stars on an overall level, even though they only have 100 reviews, as an example, okay? That is the only way that I can see how this impacts us as sellers. How it may impact your decision into getting into new products is look, on the other hand, you should never try and get into a niche, okay? And this is me now being a hypocrite because some of our old school products, could be prone sometimes to not the best reviews because beauty specifically is extremely dependent on how the buyer accepts it, especially in anti-wrinkles, etc. So in general, you don't want to be prone to bringing a product in that could have bad reviews, and you definitely never want to bring a product in that's going to have quality issues, okay? Because this will only be a really negative change for you. So this has now been for 3 or 4 days, which means I think it's not going anywhere. It's probably going to stay. I do have a client who told me that he actually noticed it a month ago for about a day, and then it disappeared. So if it's now been 4 or 5 days or 3 or 4 days, I'm guessing it's going to stay. So that's it. New update, news, and how I see it can or cannot impact us. If you have seen a change in your click-through rate or in your conversions, actually, I don't know if it will impact your conversions as much as it would make more sense that it would impact your click-through rate more than your conversions. Because if the buyer's already clicked on you and they already saw the rating, it shouldn't have too much of a negative impact. It's more the fact that they saw your product and they may click on it less, basically. So that if you've seen a change in that in the last couple of days, it could be this. And then, you want to definitely do something about your ratings. In general, you always want to want to have the best ratings. Anyway, that's it. I hope this brought some light onto the subject. I hope it helped someone. I will be back next week, and so will Danny, and I will see you all next week. Have a kick-ass rest of your Q4. Bye, everyone.